When things are down, they can really be down, and that can leave opportunity on the table. In today's video, we are going to be discussing sealed product and where you might find a few hidden gems inside the huge pile of what Wizards of the Coast has printed. When do you know a deal is a good enough deal? When is it enough to take the bait, take the plunge, and buy sealed product? Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. A reminder, guys, there's a lot of product out there. There's a lot of deals to be had, but not all deals are created equal. Now, recently in a few videos, I did make mention of the fact that some older product had really become a lot cheaper to buy. Almost to the point you have to acknowledge that there's some real savings and possible upside in the long term. That doesn't mean that every product's going to be that way, but there are specifics that you'd be looking at. Number one, what's the reprint cycle of these products? When are these cards getting reprinted, or have they been reprinted multiple times? What's inside the sealed product? Is there enough EV value there to kind of justify even taking the chance on a sealed product? It's kind of interesting. Now, what I want to share with you guys first, take a brief look here. This is Fallen Empires. We joked about this the other day, but you can see here $615, $680, give or take the shipping, taxes, import fees. You take a look at these products. You look at the sales of things like this and Homelands, $500+, and you look at how many are selling. And there is a few. Okay, it starts racking up, which means somebody is doing this. And even when we look on a thing like TCG Player, you'll see that there are actual sales starting to rack up. Well, who is buying and why? That's what we have to ask ourselves. So, if somebody knows something you don't know about these products, do you think there's some hidden cards in there that players really want? Absolutely not. Don't fall for that blemishing idea that's like, oh, maybe I'm missing out. This isn't a FOMO event. These are people, though, that have always wanted to buy a box, but they didn't want to pay $1,500 to $2,000 for a box of Fallen Empires. And just like every other product that is sealed right now, it's down in the market. And that downtrend doesn't exactly mean it's a deal, but maybe it's enough to get people to notice. And somebody who has a price memory of 2021 and sees that box at $2,000 and now sees it as a deal at $600, those are the people buying those products. But look inside the product. What do you have? We're going to get a Thrall Champion. Pretty awesome. Maybe you're going to get a Rainbow Veil. Hey, there's some great cards inside these sets, but they don't have a lot of value. They have never upswinged to the point that you had to have them, or that they were a FOMO event unto themselves that you had to go out and buy them and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Because if they were, the boxes wouldn't be that cheap. But is there the potential upswing in some of these boxes? Yes. Some of these old school cards that are on the reserve list could become broken. They could change the way you look at things, and you may take the plunge on a product like that, especially if you just want to have it for a display item, something to talk about. Or honestly, I know some friends that recently draft, and they went to Homelands and Fallen Empires because they could get it cheap. And it's not just one draft night they're getting out of it, it's multiple, because it's 60 packs in a box with only 8 cards in a pack. They had a good time putting these things together, but it doesn't end there. And that's what's interesting. Take a look at this. When you go up here and you see things like Weatherlight being sold for $1,599. And by the way, the prices I'm sharing with you today, which I forgot to mention, these are all in Canadian pricing, okay? That's how cheap and inexpensive some of these boxes are. Imagine a box of Weatherlight, which used to be like $4,000 at $1,500, and the best offer was accepted. And I know locally, here in Toronto, a box went for $1,200 Canadian, no taxes, just like a private deal that was done. So when you compare the prices of where they've been to where they are, you also have to take a look at the cards inside and the value of those cards. It doesn't really pan out when you look at a newer product the same way. It doesn't add up to the same justification you might get out of a reserve list box, but even some reserve list boxes are not exactly where you would want them to be. Let's look at this. So here we have a box of Stronghold, guys. This thing is $8,200. $200 plus shipping, and it's in Canadian dollars, but there also could be import fees and taxes depending on how it's shipped. This could be a nightmare, but this thing used to be $10,000 US, which means around $13,000 Canadian. So it's still quite a bargain for a lot of people to look at, but at the same time, you have to ask yourself, what cards are in there that could justify the price of $8,000, if at all? Because somebody buying a box like that, they may be buying it to hold it as a posterity piece, something for history, something they remember from their childhood opening, maybe something they always wanted to have as an adult, and now they're going to latch onto it because it's the best price they've seen, just like we've been talking about with Fallen Empires and Homelands. But this is a lot more of a risky endeavor because of the nature of that product. This isn't real estate. This isn't a dividend. It's not going to pay you back. You can hope it goes up in value. You can hope that somebody wants it even more than you do 10, 15 years from now as the boxes get rarer and rarer to find. But most players out there are not going to let old product go too cheap. It's those who don't have the elasticity needed in their finances to be able to hold on to these things that usually fold early. But when you look at the product, and if you were interested in a product like this, you would want to know what cards are inside. What cards could be justified? Well, the cards inside this set are kind of funny because you've got Mox Diamond and you've got Sliver Queen both inside this set. $649 per copy for a Mox Diamond, not to mention Sliver Queen at $297. It seems like amazing potential inside, and here's the funny thing. I can add a little bit of a bonus for you out there if you ever dreamed of boxes like this. Old Stronghold boxes could have 3 of each of those cards inside. I have been there when they've opened boxes and got 3 Mox Diamond and 3 Sliver Queen. That's pretty awesome, almost a play set of each. But even if you got that dream box, it doesn't justify buying a sealed box to crack it open and open. And a YouTuber opening it is never going to get enough views to justify opening that box other than the sake of just opening it for fun. So the complexity needed to buy boxes like this and the fortitude to open them is very rare. Somebody's buying this to hold on to it and they are hoping it's going to go up in value. It's a risky, risky thing, which is why most people are not going to spend $8,000. But is it a bargain? Is it actually a deal? Well, here's the funny thing about boxes like Stronghold. When you look at Stronghold as a box, you see it for $8,000. Or how about this? When it was higher at $13,000. The funny thing was, Mox Diamond was $1,500. The internal cards went up and down with the box, with the rise and fall of the market. So, could this box go back up? Could Mox Diamond go back up to $1,500 or higher? Absolutely. That's what some people will risk, is because they know from price memory, from history of this game, and how utilized certain cards are, that some of these things may look scary to the average person, but to other people, they see it as a deal. They see it as something they can exploit for future value later, and they're not shy about taking the risk. Now, let's move on here. Let me share the next one with you here, guys. So, here is another box. This is something newer. These are Ultimate Masters. Remember Ultimate Masters? Well, if you take a look at the cards inside Ultimate Masters, you can see things like Bitter Blossom, Cavern of Souls, $10, $15. Remember when these things used to be $70, $80? Ulamog of the Infinite Gyre, $30. But there's a lot of $10, $20, $30, $40 cards racking up inside this set, isn't there? Now these boxes go for around $500 Canadian. So is there a possibility that we can get enough value from boxes like this? When you look at the secondary set of cards, pay attention to the top of your screen, second one down, Ancient Tomb. $95. What are the chances of getting these cards? And of course, the extra added bonus for this kind of box, for the Ultimate Masters box, is the idea that inside that box is also a box topper. The very first box toppers we ever got. Could there be enough value in there to justify those boxes? I think a box that's newer like that, but still a premium product, if it hasn't been printed enough and you take the EV inside, there may be justification for ordering some of those boxes and opening them and selling on the secondary market. It's not going to be for everyone. It may be hard to get your value out, but there are players who are willing to take that risk because, like I just showed you, these boxes are selling. If you take a closer look, you'll see May 7th, May 1st, and April 30th, and that's all this year. And that's all within a week and a half period. And you can see there, they're all under $500. So what does that tell us? It isn't that these boxes are strictly sought after for collecting. It is telling you the singles market has risen to the point, and some of these cards have not gotten reprints, that there may be justification for ordering, opening the boxes, and seeing what you get, to take that risk to hopefully come out ahead. Those boxes could be loaded with all kinds of craziness, and that box topper had all kinds of niceties to it as well. Yes, you could get a Teague, but you could also get that Ancient Tomb. And that's what people will be betting on when they take chances on boxes like this. It is a roll of the dice to hopefully come out ahead, but knowing you won't lose it all just because the sheer value inside the box has overall risen to a certain level gives people a little bit of comfort, a little bit of occasion to celebrate, even when it's not a home run out of the ballpark type hit. It's good enough to get you on base, and that's something interesting too. Now, the last one I want to share with you guys. Let's take a look here at alliances. Alliances, you can see $2,000 a box. These things used to be $5,000, $6,000. So you're talking 60% off, give or take. And these are Canadian pricing. I have known them to go a little bit less, but I wanted to share these ones because they're more recent. April 30th. But then when you look at the cards inside, and remember, there's a lot of cards in alliances that are on the reserve list, okay? When you take a look at these, $40 for Helm of Obedience. Hey, Lake of the Dead, $92. A couple of $10 and $15 cards. But you know what the real home run will be? It's not just those cards, which, yes, you'll probably get them in the box. Those ones were 45 packs per box, and they were 12 card booster packs. Very unique. But inside of those, the uncommon was Force of Will, and that's still a $70 card. And it's an original printing, and you could get 3 or 4 of those because it was uncommon. It wasn't a mythic. It wasn't super hard to get. Yes, you're not going to get 5 or 6 or 7 of them, but you could get up to 4, I think, is what the highest I've ever heard of somebody actually opening from a box. When you add that value in, $2,000, knocking out $300-400, a Lake of the Dead or two, $500-700, you've got about half the value kind of squared up in the EV, give or take, plus all the smaller cards. Now again, it's not going to be a home run hit. The values kind of go up and down just like I talked about for Stronghold, but there might be enough to have somebody risk buying it, knowing that cards like Lake of the Dead used to be a $300 US card, $350 in some cases, not to mention the possibility of grading copies. Some people will take a position on some of these. Some people will take advantage of the windfall they have and what people have had to lose. Or what just other people getting bored with holding on to the product are willing to take for you to buy the product. They're just discounting it because they need to move it for some reason. You get to take advantage. These are just some of the deals that are out there. There are many more. But taking a look, understanding what cards have value, which cards have been reprinted, and looking at reserve list cards to say which ones actually have playability versus which ones are just kind of fun to have around. It's a great world of magic out there. These are boxes that you probably should be aware of in case you've ever looked at it. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. I can't wait to see your comments in the comment section, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Hey guys, and welcome back to the end credits. That's right, you're here. You're at the end credits. You're watching these famous names flying by. You know why they're famous? Because they're supporters of the channel. These are the heroes. These are the supporters who make sure that daily uploaded content is made possible. So thanks again to every single one of the patrons, my YouTube membership members. Thanks for being part of the team. Guys, I will see you tomorrow. Have an awesome day, everyone. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You have made it. And yes, some of those boxes are a deal. Now, you've made it this far, so we're going to have a little bit longer of a discussion, guys, because there are parts of me that I like to give a very fair evaluation. Then there are the parts of me that see opportunity. Now, when I look at a box like Urza's Destiny, when I bought this box, it was $2,000. I considered it a deal. It was still expensive, don't get me wrong, but I considered that a deal, okay? And I know they're worth more now. I know they hit up to like, what, 10, 12, 13,000. And now they've fallen all the way down. So has every other box. The idea of being able to get some of these boxes at discounted prices. No, not every box is going to be worth it. Stronghold at $8,000 seems out of reach for a lot of people. But I look at the potential upswing of being able to own something like that, not worry about the price, but holding on to it for another 10, 20, or 30 years. And asking myself, how many boxes are really out there? How many people are going to open packs? Who's going to hold on to it? Who is the market going to be? Who's going to want to buy it from me in the future? Those are all questions you're going to have to ask yourself and kind of suss out the market and see where it is. Now, there is a market for all of this or wouldn't be selling in the first place. The problem isn't the market, it's the price of the market. The deal for you may not be a deal for somebody else. And finding the right buyer for the right seller is always key. Remember, don't walk into something with FOMO. Walk in saying, I'm looking for a deal that I find acceptable, especially if you're talking about old boxes. Hey guys, a big shout out and thank you to the loyal patrons of the channel. It's because of them that this channel continues to exist. And I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of them, whether you're one of my patrons, a YouTube membership member who stepped up and donates to this channel every single month, maybe at a live stream, wherever you're doing it. Thanks again for supporting my channel. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow with another video. Have a great one. You could get in those boxes and when they appeared and how often. Cards like Ulamog showed up quite a bit. That's a $30 card. One of my friends got 3 in one box. That's $90 right there. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it can happen. And that's where the discrepancies can be found. You can come out ahead. You can get weird deals you don't even know are going to be there because you don't know what's inside the box itself. But looking at the cards and understanding what could be in there, looking at box opening videos to give you a take on things, it can really help you out in making decisions if you're going to crack boxes. If you're buying it for holding on to for the future, you're probably talking about reserve list boxes, things like Weatherlight, very inexpensive right now, Homelands and stuff. Guys, it's a steal as far as I'm concerned, but everyone's going to look at that differently. I can't help myself. Some of these things are very attractive as prizes for my patrons. It kind of gets me going, if I bought a box, I could basically give 2 or 3 packs away with every single monthly thing for a year or two. See what I mean? Like, it's kind of a great deal. Anyway, I've talked enough. I've taken up enough of your time. Go clean up. Go help out. Do something productive instead of watching me here with the "Oh yeah" shirt. Guys, have a great one. Put "Oh yeah" in the comments section. Oh yeah.